All right, so today we're doing something, well, pretty ambitious. We're going to try and draw up the blueprint for an ideal state. From scratch. We'll be using some of the biggest ideas from history's greatest thinkers to build this thing from the ground up. So, let's get into it.
So, let's just imagine for a second. You're handed a completely blank slate. No government, no laws, no police, nothing. Where do you even start? What's the first thing you need to figure out? This isn't just some abstract puzzle. It's the core question political thinkers have been battling with for centuries. And we're going to build our answer piece by piece.
Okay, so with any good blueprint, you have to start with the foundation, right? You can't just throw up the walls. And our foundation starts with a really basic question. Why do we even need a state in the first place? What problem is a government actually supposed to solve? To get to that, we've got to rewind the clock to a time before any governments existed.
And the philosopher John Locke, he really nailed this. He said that, by nature, every single one of us is born completely free. We have the right to protect our own life, our liberty, our stuff. Sounds great, doesn't it? But, and this is a big but, so does everybody else. So this world of perfect freedom, Locke had a name for it, the state of nature. And yeah, you're free, but it's also terrifyingly dangerous. Think about it. If your neighbor wants your land, who's going to stop them? If someone hurts you, who doles out the justice? In that world, everyone is their own judge, jury, and executioner. And that means nobody is ever truly safe.
So what's the fix? Well, thinkers like Locke and Rousseau came up with this brilliant idea called the social contract. It's basically a deal. We, the people, agree to give up a little bit of our wild, chaotic freedom, the freedom to just take whatever we want, and we hand that power over to some kind of common authority. And what do we get in return? Security. That authority's job is to protect our most important stuff, our lives, our liberty, our property. This deal, this is the foundation of everything.
All right, foundation's poured. We've agreed to create a government. Now it's time to put up the main pillars, the things that will hold this whole structure together. But we've just created a new problem, haven't we? We've built this powerful thing to protect us from each other, but who's going to protect us from it?
Yeah, that is the million-dollar question, isn't it? Because if you just hand all the power to make the laws, enforce the laws, and judge people to one person or one group, you're not building a society, you're building a cage. The danger of that power being abused is just huge.
So Locke came up with this absolutely genius architectural plan. Don't put all the power in one room. Split it up. He said you need 3 separate pillars. Pillar 1, the legislature. Their job is to create the laws. Pillar 2, the executive. They enforce the laws. And Pillar 3, the judiciary. They're the referee, the ones who interpret the laws when there's a disagreement. You see? By separating these jobs, no one branch can ever get strong enough to take over the whole building.
And if you want to understand just how game-changing this idea was, just compare it to someone like Machiavelli. For Machiavelli, it was all about one thing, the ruler holding on to power, no matter what. The ruler is the law. But for Locke, no way. Power is a trust that the people give to the government. Its job is to serve them. So this whole separation of powers thing, it isn't just a nice design feature. It's the main firewall. It's what stops the state from turning on you.
Okay, so we've got our foundation, we've got our pillars. We've built a pretty stable political house. But a house just sits there, right? It needs power. It needs an engine to keep everything running. And in a state, that engine is a stable economy. You just can't have political stability without economic stability. The two go hand in hand.
Just think about it. If money is worthless one day and priceless the next, how can anyone run a business? How can you plan for your future? You can't. Everything grinds to a halt, and you get social chaos. And this is where we bring in some more modern ideas, especially from the economist John Maynard Keynes.
Keynes's big idea was that a modern state needs someone at the wheel of the economy, like a central bank, with a whole toolkit to keep things on track. They can use tools like interest rates to either tap the brakes or hit the gas on the economy. They manage monetary policy to make sure your money is actually worth something tomorrow. And they keep reserves on hand to stop a small problem from turning into a full-blown crisis. It's not about a total takeover of the economy, not at all. It's about being that stabilizing force, the engine that just keeps chugging along.
So look at what we've built. We have a solid foundation, these strong, separate pillars of power, and a humming economic engine. It's a well-built machine. But why? A structure is just a bunch of concrete and steel without a purpose. So what's the soul of our state? What is the point of all of this?
And this is where a quote from John Stuart Mill just cuts right to the chase. He basically says that the best way for a person to live their life is their own way. The point of this whole grand project isn't just to have order for the sake of order. No, the whole reason we build this state is to create a space where every single individual can thrive, on their own terms. The state's job is to protect our right to be weird, to be different, to follow our own dreams.
And what that means is there is a hard stop on the state's power, a line it cannot cross. It cannot, under any circumstances, crush the basic rights of an individual. We have to remember, the state is a tool. It's something we created to serve us, not the other way around. That principle, that's the soul of our entire blueprint. It's the reason we're building it in the first place.
So if we were going to boil it all down to a set of core rules, like a mission statement for our state, this would be it. Number 1, protect people's property. And that means their life, their liberty, and their stuff, just like Locke said. Number 2, always act for the common good, what Rousseau called the general will. Number 3, go to the mat to defend individual freedom, which was Mill's whole thing. And finally, number 4, make sure justice is blind. The same rules have to apply to everyone, no exceptions.
And there it is. We started with nothing but a blank map and the chaos of the state of nature. And bit by bit, using some of the most brilliant ideas ever thought up, we've put together a real blueprint for a just society.
We've got the foundation, the social contract. We've got the pillars, that separation of powers to keep us safe. We've got the engine, a stable economy to keep things moving. And most importantly, we have its soul, a deep commitment to individual freedom and human rights. Yeah, it's a complicated machine for sure, but it's a machine built for a very clear and very worthy goal.
But here's one last thing to think about. A blueprint is just a plan. And a state isn't some building that once it's built, it's just done. No, it's a living thing. It's a project that's never really finished. Which brings us to the final and maybe the most important question. Who are the architects that have to keep this thing standing? Who's responsible for the repairs, the upgrades, the maintenance? Well, that would be us, the citizens. Thanks for joining me on this one.